Evening all, Kieran here, back with another podcast, officially sponsored by architecttips.co.uk. And after 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Cheltenham, but this weekend we go back to the flat, and the Lincoln up at Doncaster is the main event for this weekend. Now, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs about the fact that we have one weekend for the flat and then we're back for Aintree the weekend after. God knows how the calendar works like this, but we'll go with what we've got. So I've got 4 races from Doncaster to discuss, and then 2 from Kempton. I was going to do 3 from Kempton, but the Snowdrop Fillies Stakes, the 3:15. I think Soprano will easily win that. I think he's like 8-11. So there's no point really discussing that race. So first off, we start off at Doncaster. Obviously, the Lincoln is the main event. But for horses that didn't get into the Lincoln, the Spring Mile is kind of the race they end up in. And Nail Point is currently 8-1 favourite for this race. Shows you how open this race is. Very competitive handicap. He's got decent form, Ed Bethel's horse, but winning the last 2 races at the end of last season. But I'm going to take him on with Surrey Shadow of Tom Clovers, Neil Callan in the saddle. Currently best price 14-1. Like I said, big runner handicap. You're going to get plenty of placement terms in this race. 5, potentially 6 places for some bookmakers. He's 14-1. Now he's got course form. He's ran well in 2 novice events here in the start of last spring, and then got off the mark at Southwell at the start of last month. And I think the step up to the mile trip will certainly suit him. Like I said, has course form in the book, and like I said, with the amount of places you can get, I potentially think you're going to get 6 places in this race. 14-1, good each way play. Tom Clover, he's got a decent strike rate here as a trainer. I think it's around 22-23% as a trainer in the last 10 years. So I would go with Surrey Shadow for me in this race. Moving on to the 225. The Cambridge Trophy, I think I pronounced that right, or the Cabbage Trophy. James Delight is in here at 3-1 favourite. But again, I'm going to be taking him on. It's another decent competitive race. There's 10 runners or so in this. Very credit. I'm going to take him on with Ibrahim, I think I've pronounced it. I think I've got that completely wrong, but I'm going with it. Of Charlie Hills is, and Jason Watson takes the ride. Currently 8-1. 1/7 furlongs here as a 2-year-old. Very decent of the 2-year-old. I think he finished down the field in the race at Newmarket at the end of the season behind City of the Troy when he was a 2-year-old. So decent 2-year-old pedigree. Then went to the Guineas and completely fell apart in the Guineas. Didn't run any sort of race there. And then went over to the French Guineas and again didn't run any race there. Hasn't been seen since, and then came back just last month at Sutherland. In December, and won at Southwell on the all-weather. So comes here not completely fresh, but certainly would have a chance. But the fact that he's won here previously as over 7 furlongs over 2-year-old, I think he's got a bit of a chance, and I think he could be overpriced at 8-1 for the Charlie Hills team. I know Charlie Hills fairly held in quite high regard after his 2-year-old career. Obviously, to put him in both the English and the French Guineas, you would have thought that he had plenty going for him. But I'm not sure what the issues were and why you didn't see him at all after that. But I think he's got strong chances here for Charlie Hills and Jason Watson at Ibrahim at 8-1. Moving on to the 3 o'clock, the Doncaster Mile. And Liberty Lane is favourite here, 5-2 for Carl Burke and Clifford Lee, and I quite like his chances here, to be honest. I think he's going to be one of my stronger bets of the weekend, 5-2, but I think he's got great chance. So he's obviously won handicaps here over course and distance last season, and it's probably show better over further once he got his into his stride. He probably did better over 1 mile 2, 1 mile 4. 1 mile 2, 1 mile 1, that sort of trip. But I think dropping back to the mile isn't not going to give him a disservice, if that makes sense. He did, however, disappoint in the Lincoln last season when he went off 5-1 second favourite. Didn't really get the run of the race that day. So hopefully Clifford Lee can get him out of the stalls, out in front, get him dictating. Obviously, he stays, and potentially could go and win this very nicely and stepping stone towards a decent season, I think, for this boy, Liberty Lane. Currently best price 5-2. And then on to the Lincoln itself, absolute minefield, 22 runner handicap. Had a few lined up for this early in the week, but neither of them got in. Surrey Shadow was actually one of them, but obviously he's running in the consolation race at 150. So the one I've come down on is Alpha Crucicus at 25-1 for Gary Moore and Reese Clutterbuck in the saddle. Running this race last year, finished a good 4th. And like I said with the Spring Mile earlier, with it being 6-1 the field, I think it is. I think Thunder Run is favourite at 6-1 currently. 25-1 for Alpha Curious could be a massive price. If he runs a similar sort of race to he did last year, you're going to get place market. I think you could easily get 6, maybe 7 places in this. Some firms will go 7. I'm assured of that. You can find it. He's done decent. Obviously, he probably would prefer it to be slightly softer ground and maybe back at his beloved Goodwood where he's won 3 times. But like I said, 4th in this race last year and 25-1. It's too good not to get involved. He's not been out of form. Like, he's won a couple of times. I know they're both at Goodwood, like I said, but at least he's in form. Mr. Professor, who won the race last year, comes in here again, but he's got like 4 duck eggs by his name. So I'd probably be swaying him. But Arthur Crucius, 25-1 for the Moors in this race for me in the big one, the Lincoln. And then moving over to Kempton, 2 races over at Kempton on the all-weather. I never thought I'd be saying that. First, we have the Queen's Prize Handicap, where Caboose, I'll get these right soon. I'm going to be shocking this summer with some of these names. It's 3-1 favourite, but I quite like Aradazine of Gay Kellaway's currently best price 7-1. Won here well in February, completing the hat trick, and I think the form obviously didn't work out when he went to Southwell next time. Problem whether he didn't get on with the track or this, that, and t'other. I don't know. Obviously, Southwell is a very different track to Kempton. Obviously, they're a different way around for a start. But back at Kempton, back at course where he's won at. Obviously, Luke Morris in the saddle, which is a plus. I know he gets his slated for the way he rides, but couldn't ask for a better jockey in the saddle. Definitely going to give 100%, that's for sure. And it's 7-1, course and distance winner. This horse would be for me, and that's Al Razine at 7-1. And then final race I'm going to touch on, the 240, is the Roseberry Handicap, where Mouse Athos is currently favourite at 11-2. Again, with 11-2 the field, you know it's going to be a decent handicap. You have plenty of each way play in this. Paradise is going to be my selection here at 10-1 for David Probert and Alan King. Again, another course and distance winner. He's actually won his last twice, including over course and distance. And I think he could go very close here in another decent strength handicap, 10-1. You know you're going to get your money, run for your money, and yeah, he's certainly got a chance and a squeak course and distance winner, which I like on the flat. And that's about it. Probably my best bet on the card, like I said when I was discussing the race, is Liberty Lane. I would say is my best bet and probably going to be my nap of Saturday. But like I said, I will price everything up Saturday morning, and I will get the full list of who I fancy out tomorrow night when I put out my final selections. Thanks again for listening, guys. Thanks again to Architect Tips for sponsoring the channel. If you could please like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be brilliant. And also, if you can get the shares out there, I can get a bit more popularity. And yeah, we go from there onto the flat. So that's one weekend of the flat, and then obviously next week we'll be back with a preview to the Aintree meeting. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet, whether I'd split it down into 2 videos or just do one straight through video. But I hope you can join me then, guys. before then, have a good weekend and happy punting.